Hey guys, this is Dfs Chan coming to you here on February 15th to talk about tonight's four-game Dfs slate for League of Legends. We have two games in China, two games in Korea. So let's dive in as we have some major COVID-related issues that we need to bring up and kind of talk about how we can maybe navigate around that issue. So first, let's talk about the LCK matchups first. Today we're gonna mix it up a little bit because we always talk about the Chinese matchups first. So LCK, as you guys know, we do not get starter confirmation way in advance. We're definitely gonna get the starter confirmation for the first matchup between Sandbox and Fred Brion before the DFS lock. And then the second matchup of the LCK is Nongxin versus Genji, but we're not going to get starter confirmation here most likely before this slate lock. So, but yeah, let's dive into the Sandbox versus Fred Brion matchup first. Sandbox, I think, is likely going to start Dove, Croco and Closer and Ice and Kale. I think there is some risk in the bottom lane. I think Ice and Kale have been starting, but there is a chance that these players get subbed out as these are rookies and they've they've struggled quite a bit. And obviously Sandbox as a team, they are in the last place for the LCK. So Sandbox could make some changes to kind of mix it up a little bit so they can get wins. But like I said, they're the worst team. They have been the worst statistical team as well, in my opinion. But based on the eye test, I mean, when they won certain games, not the series, but when they won the games, in those games, they look pretty good. So their spectrum is very high and low. They're very inconsistent, but they do have the upside to be able to beat any teams, I think, in a game. But in the series, best of three, I mean, maybe not. I mean, so far, they've lost a lot of 2-1 games in a series. So they are definitely capable of doing so, but it's just in the best of three series, they've lost every single one. So, and on the other team in the matchup is Fred Brion is a slight favorite at -170. In the top lane, most likely these guys will share time, I think, still, Sword and Morgan. So I would definitely avoid that for DFS purposes. And then OMT in the jungle, he's been playing really well. And Lava, when he plays well, their team wins. So those two players are very important. And the bottom lane have been holding up really well while those two guys carry the team. But Hannah and Delight are going up against the rookie duo, probably most likely Ice and Kale. So, I think they definitely can come out on top. So I think it's going to come down to Croco Closer for Sandbox versus OMT and Lava, and like in the jungle and mid possession. After all, I do think Fred Brion is a little more consistent team, even though both of these teams are bad. But Fred Brion, I think, has shown that they can definitely hang around with these against top teams and bad teams, obviously. So I do think Fred Brion with that more consistency, and then also I feel like OMT and Lava have been playing much better than Croco and Closer. And even in other lanes, I prefer Henna and Delight over Ice and Kale, obviously. So I like Fred Brion here to win. And I posted this in the Discord channel as well. But Fred Brion and their wins, and just in general, their CKPM is really bad. So like, let's say Fred Brion wins, and I don't think there's much kill upside. I think the kill upside is very, very limited for this team, Fred Brion, but also in their games. I think Brady Brion's gonna probably dictate the pace of the game, I think, at least in 2 of the 3 games in the series, if it goes to 3 games. So given all of that, in Sandbox, they're not the fastest team or the bloodiest team either. So I do think this matchup is completely fadeable. I think the over-under was set at like 22.5. So I think it's definitely like a historically low kill upside stat that I've seen all across the board. So I do think I'm probably gonna fade both of these two teams, and I think that might give us an edge as to how many teams that we're gonna stack, and kind of saturate that in my ownership and other teams that I'll be playing. So, but yeah, I do think at the end of the day, if you want to play like Freddy Breon in the team slot, I think that's probably what I'm gonna do in some lineups. So I like Breon to win, like I said, but I don't think there's much kill upside for this first LCK matchup. All right, let's move on to the second LCK matchup. Is between Nongshim versus Gen G. I haven't seen the odds yet for this matchup, and it's because both teams are going through some COVID cases amongst their players. So, like for example, Nongshim had this lineup starting and playing last game. I don't know how to pronounce the first one. Then in the top lane, because Kana got tested positive for COVID. And then Dread is their main jungler. He's been starting. He does not have COVID. And then BDD, who would have started in the mid lane, has COVID. So now Fiesta is starting from the challengers of Nongshim. And then Vital, he is the AD carry from the challenger scene as well. And he got called up in place of, I think it's Teddy. No, Ghost was starting. Yeah, sorry. Ghost was starting for Nongshim at AD carry, but Vital got called up because of all the COVID cases, and now Vital is playing AD carry. And they said Ghost will move to the support position, which he has played before in the previous series for Nongshim. And then they sent down Peter to the challengers team, and Effort is still on the roster. So Effort could start technically in the support position over Ghost, which can be confusing, right? So anyway, long story short, I think Dread is probably the only one that is like guaranteed to start. Dread. And other than that, I think depending on when the players are done with the quarantine and then they test negative or whatever the requirements are, I just don't think like Kana, especially Kana. I mean, I think Kana was the last one that tested positive. So I think Kana is definitely out. I don't think it's been that long. I think it was like on the 10th or 11th that he got, or 11th or 12th that they came out with that news that he got tested positive. So I think he needs to be quarantined a little longer. So I think Kana's going to be out, unfortunately. But there's a chance that BDD and Effort could start in the mid position and then the support position. And then Vital or Ghost could start in AD carry. So who knows? But hopefully we get some news before we lock. I'll check the Korean LCK news website, and then I'll update you of any developments. But yeah, like I said, like a lot of the things are up in the air. That's why we don't have the odds on Pinnacle or on Bovada yet. So, but I think either way, it's going to be a weaker team compared to they were before. And they're on a 4-game losing streak. And I mean, partially due to the COVID cases and all that, but they've just been in bad form. So I just feel like, it's really, I think you pick Gen G or don't play anybody, right? I think that's probably what I'm going to do. I think Gen G is going to win no matter what, so yeah, let's dive into Gen G's lineup as well. Like I said, they're affected by COVID cases as well. This is the lineup that I'm expecting it to be, but it may not be right. This is like an educated guess lineup based on the news. As you guys know, Doran, who usually starts in the top lane for Gen G, Doran tested positive, and he was the most recent case amongst the Gen G players. So I think Doran is definitely going to be out, just like Canna, what I said about Canna for Nongshim. So I think for Gen G, I think Doran is out. So last time, what they did is they called up Quid from the challengers team, and he plays the mid lane. So they moved Chovy to the top lane, who played in that lane instead of Doran, and put Quid in the mid lane. So, and then Peanut and then Lehens, they both sat out the last 2 series for Gen G. So I think they've been quarantining since like the 9th or 10th. So they've been isolated for a while, and I feel like it's been long enough for them. I mean, they set out, like I said, 2 series. So I think they will be back most likely today to help the team win. So if like Peanut starts, Chovy starts, and Lehen starts, and Ruler starts, that's 4 out of the regular 5 starters. So Doran is the only one missing. So most likely Gen G, will outscale Nongshim. And like before the COVID cases happened, Gen G was one of the best teams in the LCK other than T1. So, and against the struggling team in Nongshim, who we don't even know how many challenger players that they'll start, I think Gen G will take care of business here. Excuse me. So anyway, yeah, so I think Gen G's gonna win. I think the kill upside is there compared to the other LSB versus Pro matchup. So I'm definitely gonna play some Gen G. I think Gen G's ownership is gonna be pretty high as well. But people are unsure as to who's gonna start for Gen G, right? So I think just after having read the LCK, like actual Korean websites, I can read Korean. I'm fluent in Korean, so I think as soon as I learn of any developments and I see any news articles, I will share that with you guys on the Discord channel as well. So, and I think we're gonna hear something, to be honest with you. So, but most likely, I think Peanut and Lehens will be back, so that completes Peanut, Chovy, Ruler, Lehens, 4 out of the 5 regular starters. So I think that's probably what's going to happen. So I think Gen G should be much favored here in this matchup, and they will win. I think that's my prediction. All right, let's move over to LPL, which is a little simpler. So without any COVID cases, I mean, these guys are who are going to start. So Thunder Talk, who's been the worst team in China, versus Top Esports. Top Esports has been in bad form, but they're going up against the worst team in China. They're still starting Chieftain and UCal, who are the Korean imports for TT. They started last series, but they didn't look very great. But Top Esports has also been struggling and is starting Wayward in the top lane still, and Tian in the jungling position, and then Mark in the support position. So I don't really like this lineup, but like I said, they're going up against Thunder Talk, who's been the worst team. So obviously, I think Top Esports is going to win. If I have to guess, 2-0, maybe 2-1, maybe. Because I think Thunder Talk definitely has a shot now with Chieftain and UCal to be able to beat some teams. And they're not going to go winless. I don't think I think these 2 guys are too talented to go winless for the rest of the season. I do think Top Esports is the gatekeeper team where they would beat bad teams up under them on the standings and lose to the elite teams above them in the standings. But I think I'll definitely take a shot with Thunder Talk in some GPP lineups, but most likely Top Esports should win this one easily. So like I said, Thunder Talk is just statistically really bad, and eye test wise they're bad too. So but they're not going to go winless forever, so maybe it takes some shots. The The next matchup is a much better one, RNG versus V5. Xiaohu, interestingly, has won the Player of the Week awards in the LPL. He's been playing really well. And I think in this meta, the mid laner is very important. And he's going up against Rookie. So Rookie has been struggling here and there. But he had really good games on Corki the other day, and I like him quite a bit. But I do think Xiaohu has been in better form. So I think Xiaohu has an advantage over Rookie, even though both are good. I think Karsa and Wei is an interesting matchup. But I just feel like RNG has been in better form and been more consistent. And I think they're coming to, they're gelling quite a bit. So I do agree with the odds. I think V5 is definitely playable. So I think I'm going to play both teams, to be honest with you. I think both teams are capable of winning. But if I have to make a prediction, I like RNG to win here as well. I just feel like even the bottom lane, I think RNG has an advantage there. And Rich actually has been playing really well for V5. I like him a lot. If you're stacking V5 pieces, I like Rich. Sometimes you kind of ignore the top laner, but I like Rich for DFS purposes. But for RNG also has been, he's been struggling here in a little bit early in the season, but I think he's coming, he's gelling a little bit here throughout the season. So, but yeah, like I said, I'm gonna play both teams, so we'll see, where that leads us. In terms of the kill upside, let's look at that real quick. All right. Tug versus Top Esports, 0.77. Okay, Thunder Talk. And give me 1 second. Here we go. Thunder Talk versus Top Esports, 0.77 CKPM. RNG versus V5. 8. So yeah, I mean, I think they're about the same, really. I think RNG V5 is slightly more bloody, but very slightly. So I think that's probably what I'm gonna do a long stack from, but I think it's fine either way, and depends on how your salary is, divvying out at the end when you're building the roster. And it looks like RNG has the best jungling control percentage amongst the LPL teams and the laning percentage. So like I said, I think it favors RNG on many metrics over Victory 5. So I think RNG is a good bet to win. But V5 can definitely pull it off. They are talented to be and talented enough to pull it off as well. So anyway, so that's all I got for you guys today. These are like potential stacks that I'm looking at. I don't know. I don't know if it's a stack list or stack options that I'm going to use, but anyway, so yeah, if you guys have any questions, please let me know on Twitter, YouTube, Discord, anywhere you can reach me. I'll try to respond. I'm probably gonna get some sleep here and then wake up before lock. But if you like the video, hit the like button here or hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate it. That'll help us a lot. Yeah, if you enjoy the content, let me know as well. Thank you.